I get it, you're staring at the endless coffee machine aisle, scrolling through glossy ads, and you're just not sure if dropping a few $100s on a high-end automatic is really worth it for your kitchen. You've probably heard the hype about barista-grade drinks at the touch of a button, but you also know there's a real risk of ending up with a machine that looks impressive and then just gathers dust because it doesn't fit your routine. That hesitation is exactly why I wanted to break down the Jura J8 Twin Diamond Black, not by reading a spec sheet, but by walking through the kinds of mornings, afternoons, and weekend brunches where this thing actually shows up in the mix. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the J8 isn't just another single brew unit, it's built around the idea that a household can have two distinct coffee personalities at once. The twin grinder setup means you can dedicate one burr to a finer espresso grind and the other to a coarser drip or French press setting, all while the machine remembers each profile. For a family where one person is a straight-up espresso aficionado and another prefers a milder, larger cup, that separation can save a lot of fiddling with settings. In real life, I've seen couples who use the espresso side for their quick, post-workout caffeine hit, then swing over to the larger cup side for a lazy Sunday pour-over-style brew without having to recalibrate anything. The biggest draw for most buyers is the one-touch experience. The Jura interface is clean, with a few clearly labeled buttons rather than a wall of menus. When you press the espresso button, the machine automatically pulls the right amount of water, adjusts temperature, and starts the pre-infusion sequence that many coffee purists talk about. On the larger cup side, it ramps up the volume and lowers the pressure, mimicking a drip brew profile. In practice, this means you can line up two drinks at once, say, a cappuccino for yourself and a regular coffee for a guest, and the machine will handle both without you having to pause and change anything in between. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths. The first thing that shows up in day-to-day use is consistency. Because the J8 uses Jura's proprietary pulse extraction process, each shot comes out with a similar crema and body, even if the beans you load vary a bit. That matters when you're trying to keep a morning routine smooth. You won't have to keep tweaking the grind or tamp pressure because the machine is doing the heavy lifting. The second strength is the customization depth. Through the display, you can program everything from water temperature to milk froth density for each drink profile. If you like a slightly hotter latte in the winter or a cooler, more aromatic espresso in the summer, the machine remembers those nuances. I've seen users set up a morning boost that pulls a double shot, adds a splash of hot water, and tops it with a light foam roll in under 30 seconds. One hidden trade-off that often gets overlooked is the water tank size versus the frequency of refilling. The J8's tank holds enough for about 10 to 12 standard cups, which sounds decent, but if you're the type who makes multiple drinks per person during a brunch or you run a small office from home, you'll find yourself topping it off more often than you'd like. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if you're counting on a set-it-and-forget-it experience. Another practical weakness is the learning curve around the dual grinder system. While the ability to have two grind settings is fantastic, you do have to spend a little time initially calibrating each burr for the beans you prefer. If you're new to whole bean coffee or you like to switch beans daily, you'll need to adjust the grinder settings each time, or you'll end up with a grind that's too fine for the larger cup side and vice versa. Who should buy the Jura J8? If you already have a habit of drinking more than one style of coffee every day and you value having both options at the ready, this is a solid match. It's also a good fit for small households that entertain often think a weekend brunch crew of 4, where half the guests want espresso and the others want a bigger, milder brew. The machine's ability to store multiple user profiles means you can set up a guest setting that automatically delivers a balanced cup without you having to guess someone's taste. Professionals who work from home and need a reliable espresso for quick breaks will appreciate the speed and consistency, especially when the machine preheats and maintains temperature between drinks. On the flip side, if you're a single person who only drinks one type of coffee, say, just a plain black drip brew each morning, the twin grinder feature adds complexity you likely won't use. In that scenario, a simpler, single grinder model could give you the same quality with fewer knobs to turn. Also, if you have a very